Welcome, beloved. We're reading the Bible. Yes, you are welcome to be with us every day, 7 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're watching the replay, let us know where you're watching from. You are so loved. You are so appreciated for being in this clear, honest reading of the Bible with no filters from religion, just so we can see what it says. Let's go. Today, Genesis chapter 31 and 32. Jacob heard Laban's son's words, saying, Jacob has taken away all that was our father's. He has obtained all this wealth from that which was our father's. Jacob saw the expression on Laban's face, and behold, it was not toward him as before. Yahweh said to Jacob, Return to the land of your fathers and to your relatives, and I will be with you. Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to the field to his flock and said to them, I see the expression on your father's face, that it is not toward me before, but the God of my father has been with me. You know that I have served your father with all of my strength. Your father has deceived me and changed my wages 10 times, but God didn't allow him to hurt me. If he said, the speckled will be your wages, then all the flock bore speckled. If he said, the streaked will be your wages, then all the flock bore streaked. Thus, God has taken away your father's livestock and given them to me. During mating season, I lifted up my eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the male goats which leaped on the flock were streaked, speckled, and grizzled. The angel of God said to me in the dream, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. He said, Now lift up your eyes and behold, all the male goats which leap on the flock are streaked, speckled, and grizzled, for I have seen all that Laban does to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar, where you vowed a vow to me. Now arise, get out from this land, and return to the land of your birth. Rachel and Leah answered him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house? Aren't we considered foreigners as by him? For he has sold us, and he has also used up our money. For all the riches which God has taken away from our father are ours and our children's. Now then, whatever God has said to you, do. Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives on the camels, and he took away all his livestock and all his possessions which he had gathered, including the livestock which he had gained in Paddan Aram, to go to Isaac his father, to the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel stole the teraphim that were her father's. Jacob deceived Laban the Syrian in that he didn't tell him that he was running away. So he fled with all that he had. He rose up, passed over the river, and set his face toward the mountain of Gilead. Laban was told on the third day that Jacob had fled. He took his relatives with him and pursued him 7 days' journey. He overtook him in the mountain of Gilead. God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream of the night and said to him, Be careful that you don't speak to Jacob either good or bad. Laban caught up with Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mountain, and Laban with his relatives encamped in the mountain of Gilead. Laban said to Jacob, What have you done that you have deceived me and carried away my daughters like captives of the sword? Why did you flee secretly and deceive me and didn't tell me that I might have sent you away with mirth and with songs, with tambourine and with harp, and didn't allow me to kiss my sons and my daughters? Now have you done foolishly. It is in the power of my hand to hurt you, but the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, be careful that you don't speak to Jacob either good or bad. Now you want to be gone because you greatly longed for your father's house. But why have you stolen my gods? Jacob answered, because I was afraid, for I said, lest you should take your daughters from me by force. Anyone you find your gods with shall not live. Before our relatives, discern what is yours with me and take it. For Jacob didn't know that Rachel had stolen them. Laban went into Jacob's tent, into Leah's tent, and into the tent of the two female servants, but he didn't find them. He went out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the teraphim, put them in the camel's saddle, and sat on them. Laban felt all around all the tent, but didn't find them. She said to her father, don't let my lord be angry that I can't rise up before you, for I'm having my period. He searched, but didn't find the teraphim. Jacob was angry and argued with Laban. Jacob answered Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin that you have hotly pursued me? Now that you have felt around in all my stuff, what have you found of all your household stuff? Set it here before my relatives and your relatives, that they may judge between us two. These 20 years I have been with you, your ewes and your female goats have not cast their young, and I haven't eaten the rams of your flocks. That which was torn of your animals, I didn't bring to you. I bore its loss. Of my hand, you required it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. This was my situation. In the day, the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep fled from my eyes. These 20 years I have been in your house. I served you 14 years for your two daughters and 6 years for your flock, and you have changed my wages 10 times. Unless the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had been with me, surely now you would have sent me away empty. God has seen my affliction and the labor of my hands and rebuked you last night. Laban answered Jacob, the daughters are my daughters. The children are my children. The flocks are my flocks. And all that you see is mine. What can I do today to these my daughters or to their children whom they have borne? Now come, let's make a covenant, you and I. Let it be for a witness between me and you. Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. Jacob said to his relatives, gather stones. They took stones and made a heap. They ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jegar Sahadutha, but Jacob called it Galeed. Laban said, this heap is witness between me and you today. Therefore it was named Galeed and Mizpah, for he said, Yahweh watch between me and you when we are absent one from another. If you afflict my daughters, or if you take wives in addition to my daughters, no man is with us. Behold, God is witness between me and you. Laban said to Jacob, see this heap and see this pillar, which I have set between me and you. May this heap be a witness, and may the pillar be a witness, that I will not pass over this heap to you, and you will not pass over this heap and this pillar to me for harm. The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. Then Jacob swore by the fear of his father, Isaac. Jacob offered a sacrifice in the mountain, and called his relatives to eat bread. They ate bread and stayed all night in the mountain. Early in the morning, Laban rose up and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them. Laban departed and returned to his place. Footnote: Genesis 31:19. Teraphim were household items that may have been associated with inheritance rights to the household property. Footnote to Genesis 31:47. Jigar Sahadutha means witness heap in Aramaic. Footnote to Genesis 31:47. Galeed means witness heap in Hebrew. So that word that is witness heap, it is presented in Aramaic as Jigar Sahadutha. It is presented in Hebrew as Galeed. Genesis chapter 32. Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. When he saw them, Jacob said, "This is God's army." He called the name of that place Mahanaim. Jacob sent messengers in front of him to Esau, his brother, to the land of Seir, the field of Edom. He commanded them, saying, "This is what you shall tell my lord Esau. This is what your servant Jacob says. I have lived as a foreigner with Laban and stayed until now. I have cattle, donkeys, flocks, male servants, and female servants. I have sent to tell my Lord that I may find favor in your sight." The messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother Esau. He is coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him." Then Jacob was greatly afraid and was distressed. He divided the people who were with him, along with the flocks, the herds, and the camels, into two companies. He said, "If Esau comes to the one company and strikes it, then the other company which is left will escape." Jacob said, "God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, Yahweh, who said to me, 'Return to your country and to your relatives, and I will do you good.' I'm not worthy of the least of all the loving kindnesses and of all the truth which you have shown to your servant. For with just my staff I crossed over this Jordan, and now I have become two companies. Please deliver me from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he come and strike me and the mothers with the children. You said, 'I will surely do you good and make your offspring as the sand of the sea, which can't be counted because there are so many.'" He stayed there that night and took from that which he had with him a present for Esau, his brother, 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milk camels and their colts, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, and 10 foals. He delivered them into the hands of his servants, every herd by itself, and said to his servants, "Pass over before me," and put a space between herd and herd. He commanded the foremost, saying, "When Esau, my brother, meets you and asks you, saying, 'Whose are you? Where are you going? Whose are these before you?' then you shall say, 'They are your servant Jacob's. It is a present sent to my lord Esau. Behold, he also is behind us.'" He commanded also the second and the third and all that followed the herds, saying, "This is how you shall speak to Esau when you find him. You shall say, 'Not only that, but behold, your servant Jacob is behind us.' For he said, 'I will appease him with the present that goes before me, and afterward I will see his face. Perhaps he will accept me. So the present passed over before him, and he himself stayed that night in the camp. He rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 servants and his 11 sons and crossed over the ford of the Jabbok. He took them and sent them over the stream and sent over that which he had. Jacob was left alone and wrestled with a man there until the breaking of the day. When he saw that he didn't prevail against him, the man touched the hollow of his thigh. Of Jacob's thigh was strained as he wrestled. The man said, "Let me go, for the day breaks." Jacob said, "I won't let go unless you bless me." He said to him, "What is your name?" He said, "Jacob." He said, your name will no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. For you have fought with God and with men and have prevailed. Jacob asked him, "Please tell me your name." He said, "Why is it that you ask what my name is?" So he blessed them there. Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for he said, "I have seen God face to face, and my life is preserved." The sun rose on him as he passed over Peniel, and he limped because of his thigh. Therefore, the children of Israel don't eat the sinew of the hip, which is on the hollow of the thigh, to this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew of the hip. Footnote to Genesis chapter 32, verse 2. Mahanaim means 2 camps. Footnote to Genesis 32:30. Peniel means face of God. If you came here for the reading of the Bible, there you have it. Genesis chapter 32 and Genesis chapter 31 and Genesis chapter 32. If you came for the commentary, let's get into it. The first thing I want to say about Jacob is this man is a trickster. This man is deceitful. This man is a liar. And this man is a cheat. How do we know? He's a trickster, and he's a conniver, and he's a liar, and he's a cheat. That's Jacob. Now, that's not my opinion of Jacob. That's what we just read of Jacob. Let's break it down. First, when his brother comes in hungry and he's just cooking up some stew, and his brother said, "Oh, I'm so hungry. Give me some of your stew. Give me your birthright for my stew." What? That's a big price to pay for one meal. You want my whole inheritance for one meal? And Esau, just hungry, starved, not on the same level of trickster wit as Jacob, was like, "Okay, whatever." He probably didn't think it was really, really what was going to happen. Then later, his mother said, "Listen, you need to go into your father and you need to get that birthright and that blessing and the inheritance and all the goods, because you're not the firstborn, but I want you to get it." He says, "Okay." And he dresses all up and he puts the skins on him, and he tries to rub the hairy skins on him to make him smell like like Esau, his brother. And he goes in to trick their father to lie to an old blind man, because his father was half blind, couldn't really see. He was like, "You sound like Jacob. Are you sure?" He kept asking him, "Are you sure?" "Oh, yeah, I'm sure." This man is a conniver. This man is a liar. This man is a deceit. And let me ask you a question. It's a deceitful one. And let me ask you a question. Did you know when you were in church, what did you know about Jacob? We knew he had 2 wives and 2 concubines. We knew he was the father to 12 tribes of Israel. We knew that he was blessed by God, supposedly. We knew that he was, treated badly by Laban. However, we know he got the birthright instead of his brother, because church made Esau the villain of the story and made Jacob the hero of the story. I don't see a hero and I don't see a villain. I see two brothers doing deceitful shit to each other. That's what I see. I see two brothers. One is deceitful, one is angry and murderous. So Jacob, trickster, liar, deceiver, thief, and cheat. So he, if you are going to be a trickster, a liar, a deceiver to your own father, who cannot see clearly and is old and is about to die, if you would lie to your own dying father, you'll probably lie to anybody and anyone about anything. Therefore, he did. Okay, let's continue with his deceitful, conniving ways. So now he goes to Laban, and he met a trickster just as trickery as him, if trickery is a word. Jacob met Laban. Laban's trying to connive against Jacob, and Jacob's trying to connive against Laban. They're both connivers. And that would make sense because these people weren't real. I'm just talking about this is an origin story for a group of people who need to create their origin story. Jacob in the story, a conniver would meet up with a conniver. Well, in the story, Laban supposedly keeps changing Jacob's wages. However, Jacob is doing some shady shit with breeding the flock and the herds, the goats and the sheep, so that he can have more. He's craftily building his wealth based on someone else's wealth. Because when he came, he didn't have anything. Like he said, when he walked in, he had a staff. That's all he had. Now he stayed for 7 years. Before he got the Rachel, he got tricked and he got, hey, the trickster got tricked. Now, can I ask you a question? You just lied straight face to your dying blind father to steal the inheritance that you did not rightfully supposedly have in that scenario. And when you come over here and a person lies to you and gives you Leah, your wife, though you wanted Rachel, you get mad. How does that work? Can someone tell me how that works? You just lied straight face to your dying blind father. Yes, I'm Esau. Yes, I'm Esau. Here's some food I bought in from you. But you came in fast. That was fast. How did you get the food so fast? Oh, the venison was with me. He just making up lies on the spot. Oh, I saw one as soon I saw a deer as soon as I left out. But my son, you sound like Jacob. Come closer. Are you sure you're Esau? Oh, I'm Esau. Oh, for sure. You can trust me. This man is a liar. And then he goes and he gets the same treatment. Laban gives him Leah instead of Rachel. And he gets mad. How you gonna get mad? And you just cheated your own brother, your flesh and blood, out of an inheritance, and you come over here and you get mad because somebody gives you the wrong wife. Okay, but let's go further. So you did all that at home. Over here, you're conniving and you're building your wealth from this man's household. And the man knew it because the man chased him and said, everything you have, you got from working with me, which was true. Because Jacob said, when I came over the river, I only had a staff. That's all I had. Well, and the stolen birthright. And I am going to call it stolen because it involved trickery and deceit, lies, deception. After Laban He's been there 20 years. He's grown in wealth, grown in wealth, grown in wealth. And then he decides to sneak away at night. Why did he decide to sneak away at night with his whole household? It's clear why he decided to sneak away at night. Because if he had told Laban where he was going, this conniver would have connived him again. So he's gonna one up the conniver with a connive, like, well, I'll just slip away. Let me go call my wives. He calls his wives, listen, wives, we got to get out of here. And he makes up a story. Your father done me wrong. And I talked to my God. Notice that he said, my God. I talked to the God of my father, Isaac, and the God of his father, Abraham. Notice he didn't say God. I talked to the God of my father. I talked to the Elohim of my father. That wasn't the whole Elohim of everyone. And we're going to get up out of this place. And how do we know that it was not the Elohim of everyone? Because Rachel, man, these women, they be running shit. Rachel was like, oh, let me take these gods out of my father's house. So when Jacob said, we getting out of here, Rachel was like, gotcha. Rachel goes into the house, her father's house, and the Teraphim. Now, we don't know what the Teraphim are. It's very valuable. It's some kind of gods. It's some kind of something. She goes straight in and she gets that. Perhaps it's something that rules inheritance, who's going to get the property later. She goes right in and gets that. She doesn't put it in the tent. She puts it on her camel and puts it in the saddle. And then she's sitting on her camel. And her father says, he's searching the tent, searching the tent. She's sitting there the whole time. Man, these women are just as conniving as the men. She's sitting there the whole time, knowing she got the stolen goods that her father and all of them are running around looking for. She's just sitting there on her camel. See, in the church, they didn't tell you the stories of the women. They only told you the stories of the men. And because we didn't read the Bible word for word ourselves, we returned to Christians, turn to Genesis 17, 18. And it says that Jacob was faithful before God. And that's why we love Jacob. And you got to be just like Jacob. I don't want to be like this man. I don't want to be like Jacob. Rachel is sitting there on her camel, and the father's looking around, looking around, looking around. And then it looks like strange that she's sitting on her camel. She says, oh, pardon me, I'm in my moon time. Forgive me that I don't get up to greet you, Father. He's like, okay, okay, okay. Everybody except this woman fooled everyone there. She fooled the husband because the husband didn't even know she had it. She fooled the other wife. She fooled her father, straight faced, sat on that camel and watched them men run from tent to tent to tent looking for something she was sitting on all along. Oh, I can't get up. Do you see how women are? Do you see how women are? And people want to tell us, oh, the Bible makes women look so bad. No, it doesn't. The Bible makes women look like women. The Bible is just telling you stories, just like Harry Potter. You get to choose for yourself what the stories mean because they have no inherent meaning. The Bible doesn't have a static meaning, according to Dr. Joel Baden, professor of Hebrew Bible at Yale Divinity School. I freaking love Dr. Joel Baden. Look him up on YouTube. And he's Jewish. And he would tell you the Bible doesn't have a static meaning. What? Because in church, they sure told us it means this, and it means this, and it means this, and it means this, and no other adaptation of the story is allowed, tolerated, or even heard, listened to. We don't even want to listen to your heretical ideas about the Bible. Now let's go into the im in the Hebrew Bible. Im always indicates plural, the teraphim. So when you see Elohim, you got to think, this is a plural word. Yet they try to tell us, well, sometimes it's plural and sometimes it's not. You have to go by the verbs. Okay, however, in the original Hebrew, if something is plural sometimes and sometimes singular, it can't be the God. It can't be the God of this whole universe, because sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. That's not how the infinite source of the entire universe behaves. Let's go on screen share and look at this. We're going to go to the scripture for all. Let's go right on over here to the interlinear Bible, Hebrew to English, interlinear Bible. And I want to see what it says at Genesis chapter 31, actually chapter 32, what we just saw. Okay, Genesis chapter 32. And I want to see where it says the God of my father. Oh, God of my father, verse 9. What does it say here? Elohim of father of me. The Elohim. Not the God of the whole universe, the Elohim of my father. And when we go into ancient Sumeria, we know Elohim means Anunnaki. There were Anunnaki of this group of people, an Anunnaki of this group of people, and an Anunnaki of this group of people. And that continued through the generations as there was a being that this people worshiped and adored. And one was Baal, and one was Yahweh. These are all different Elohim. And when you trace the story all the way back, it's exactly what they did in Sumer. The Anunnaki had the people in groups, and each group had an Elohim. The Elohim of the Babylonians was Marduk, son of Enki. The Elohim in this place was Enlil. The Elohim in this place was Enki. It wasn't all one God. We need to wash that trash. It's a lie out of our mind that the Bible is even talking about one God. The Bible has many gods. There's no one God of the Bible. We're reading it for ourselves, the Elohim of my father and the Elohim of my grandfather. That's a different Elohim from your Elohim, because Laban, you're worshiping something else because you have different gods in your house. That part ought to be clear, right? Let's go a little bit further with this. Who is this man that Jacob wrestles with? It doesn't say an angel, it says a man. Now, what did they tell us in church? In church, they told us, oh, Jacob wrestled all night with an angel. He could not have wrestled all night with an angel because there are no angels in the Bible. Let's go to the scripture itself. Let's go straight to the Bible and let's see it for ourselves. It says in Genesis, tell me where you see an angel. It says in Genesis, okay, Jacob was left alone and wrestled with a man. A man. How do we get angel out of that? I'll tell you. Okay. The man, he's referring to him as a man. It's a man. What is your name? He said, Jacob. I'm going to change your name. For you have fought with God and men and have prevailed. Tell me your name. Why do you need to know my name? You don't need to know my name. It doesn't say an angel. It says a man. He wrestled with a man. The lies of the church are stacked up to heaven and are being revealed. Never said an angel. Let's go to scripture for all. Genesis chapter 32, verse 24. To see for ourselves What are we at? Genesis chapter 32. Let's go to Genesis chapter 32, verse 24, to see for ourselves in the original Hebrew, what is this word? And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled with a man. He is wrestling man with him. He's wrestling with a man. Perhaps this man was one of the messengers of, of his Elohim. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is the dreams. How the Anunnaki had technology, they possessed technology to be able to invade your dreams at night and have full blown conversations with you while you were in the dream state. So, if you wonder in the Hebrew Bible why many of these messages are coming to people while they're in their dreams, this is why. And if you go to some of the apocryphal literature, you also see that they were communicating telepathically. They were also communicating with people while they were in the dream state. And there could have been some kind of mind entrainment technology that they had. Yet we all know that it's quite possible to not only have dreams where you are lucid dreaming, where you are in control of your dream and yet you know you're dreaming. And it is also quite possible to receive messages in your dreams. And it is also quite possible to telepathically communicate with anyone at any time. We know that these things exist. We have all experienced these things. And to hear that the Anunnaki were using a mind communication type of technology isn't strange at all. Not to me, anyway. Not at all. So I want you to consider, who are the heroes of the Bible? Who are the people we were taught to revere? Maybe we ought to second guess that. Maybe we ought to rethink that. Maybe we ought to reassess who the church holds up as heroes in the Bible and reassess who the church holds up as villains as well. Are they really villains? Are they really heroes? Let's find out for ourselves by reading it. I love you. Mwah. Peace. I'll see you tomorrow. Yay!